Okay, so when we talk about financial security, like real wealth, what's the first thing that pops into your head?
Usually a massive salary, right? Six figures, maybe more, or, selling a startup for millions.
Exactly. High-flying income, that's the dream, or at least the assumption. But what if that very idea that you need that huge paycheck is actually the biggest thing holding most people back?
Hmm.
Today, we're diving into some really fascinating material, looking at sources that basically say, hold on a minute. They argue pretty strongly that you don't need to be a top earner to build serious wealth. We're talking about how people on, well, pretty modest salaries,
Yeah, standard salary,
like teachers, cleaners, how they can actually become millionaires
systematically.
reliably.
That's absolutely the core idea in our sources. And it's powerful because it shifts the focus. The material centers on this concept. Building wealth, it's much less about the size of your income and far more about your behavior, your habits, consistently. So our mission here is to kind of strip away those old assumptions, get past the wishful thinking, and pull out the actual actionable things, the habits, the mindset shifts that make this possible for, well, pretty much anyone.
Okay, let's just state it plainly then, right at the top. The big finding, the thing you have to accept before anything else makes sense, is this. If you feel like you have a wealth problem, the evidence we're looking at strongly suggests it might actually be a behavioral problem, not necessarily an income problem.
Right. Wealth accumulation, it seems, is built on these consistent, repeatable saving and investing habits, much more than just getting a bigger paycheck.
And that consistency, it's not just theoretical. The sources give some really compelling examples.
They do. Specific people.
Yeah, this is where that high-income myth really starts to, well, crumble. We've got two key examples highlighted. One is Janice. She's a school teacher.
A vital job, absolutely. Steady income.
But not typically what you think of when you hear a millionaire.
No.
And the other is Colin, a cleaner. Again, a job that's squarely in that lower to middle income bracket.
Definitely.
And yet, both of them, during their working lives, they hit millionaire status.
Mm-hmm.
So that just forces the question, doesn't it? If it wasn't the huge salary, how on earth did they do it? What was the mechanism?
Yeah, and the mechanism wasn't luck or some windfall. It was relentless discipline, focused discipline. It's really crucial to get that this wealth wasn't accidental. It came from a sustained strategy.
Okay, what did that look like?
Consistent investing, for one, usually in low-cost options like
Sure.
index funds,
Right.
and paired with, well, what the sources describe as an intensely frugal lifestyle.
Frugal. Okay.
Yeah, and not like skipping meals frugal,
Okay.
but really distinguishing between needs and wants. They just didn't give in to lifestyle creep.
So practical examples.
Well, the sources mentioned Janice drove the same modest car for like 25 years.
Whoa.
And Colin, the cleaner, he wasn't just putting aside spare change. He was systematically maxing out his retirement accounts every year.
Maxing them out on a cleaner's salary.
Using those low-cost funds, yeah. They essentially made saving and investing the default setting for their money. It wasn't an afterthought.
That level of frugality, okay, it's possible. But I have to push back slightly here, thinking about Colin again. He would have faced inflation, right? Rents going up, cost of living.
Yeah.
His income probably didn't always skyrocket.
Yeah.
So how did he keep investing consistently when maybe prices were rising faster than his wages? Where did that extra money, that margin, come from for these lower income earners?
That's a great question, and it really feeds into this idea of the mental shift we need to talk more about later. They didn't see inflation as a signal to stop investing. They saw it as a reason to be even more disciplined, maybe more aggressive with their spending elsewhere.
Ah, okay.
And critically, they avoided consumer debt like the plague, especially high interest debt, credit cards.
Yeah.
That stuff is like reverse compounding. It just eats your margin alive.
Right. Kills any progress.
Exactly. So for them, every dollar they saved by not spending wasn't just a dollar saved. It was a dollar they could put to work in the market. Leverage it.
So the aha moment
Yeah.
for you listening is maybe this. Success isn't really gated by some elite income club.
Right. It's gated by financial discipline. And
Yeah.
discipline, well, that's the great equalizer, isn't it? Anyone can cultivate that.
Discipline feels more controllable. Yeah. Asking for a huge raise might feel out of reach, but changing habits, that's on you. So if discipline is the bedrock, what are the specific habits? The sources lay out 5 key ones that these low-income millionaires seem to share. We should probably go through them.
Let's do it.
Okay, number 1, foundational. We kind of touched on it. Pay yourself first.
Yes, absolutely critical.
Explain that. What does it mean practically?
It means you treat your savings and your investment contributions like the most important bill you have.
The first bill.
The very first. Before rent, before groceries, before anything else tempting comes along, automation is key here. Set it up so the money moves automatically when you get paid.
Right. So it removes that willpower battle later in the month.
Exactly. It takes willpower out of the equation.
Okay, habit 1. Then number 2.
This one might be even tougher, especially today. Actively avoiding lifestyle inflation. Or lifestyle creep.
Ah, yes. The silent killer.
Totally. For everyone, really, but it's devastating if you're trying to build wealth on a modest income.
So you get a raise,
Hmm.
say $10,000. What happens?
For most people, their spending goes up by $10,000 or more. They finally get the nicer car, the bigger house, the fancier holidays.
Right, they upgrade their life.
And they never actually increase the gap between what they earn and what they spend. That gap is where wealth building happens.
So Janice and Colin, they got raises over the years, presumably.
Sure, their income might have gone up, say, 20% over a decade, but their core spending, the sources suggest it stayed pretty much flat.
So all that extra income.
Went straight into savings and investments. That increased margin, that's what fueled their journey to millionaire status.
I have to admit, when I got my first decent paycheck, that urge to upgrade something was so strong. You feel like you've earned it.
It's incredibly real, human nature almost.
So how do you fight that psychologically?
Well, partly by focusing on the system, the habit, not the immediate gratification. And that ties into the third habit, which is super important for lower earners, maximizing tax-advantaged accounts.
Okay, like 401ks, IRAs.
Exactly. Roth IRAs, maybe a 403b for a teacher like Janice. Why are these so powerful for lower earners?
Lex Rakes.
Yes, but it's more than that. Tax deferral or tax-free growth is disproportionately valuable when you're starting with smaller amounts. Compounding works much better when the tax man isn't taking a cut every year.
Ah, I see.
These folks, Janice and Colin, they weren't trying to pick stocks or time the market. They just focused on putting as much as legally allowed into these accounts, definitely enough to get any employer match.
The free money.
Always take the free money. For a modest income, using these tax shelters effectively is often the only way to really build substantial wealth because it's like the government is subsidizing your savings.
Okay, so that moves it beyond just saving into smart strategic saving.
Right.
Got it. What's habit number 4?
This goes back to what we said about Colin and keeping his margin. Aggressive avoidance of high-interest debt.
Credit cards, mainly. Payday loans.
Yep. Think about it. Compound interest is this amazing force working for you when you invest. High-interest debt uses that exact same powerful math, but against you.
Right. Digging the hole deeper, faster.
Precisely. If your investments are making, say, 7% a year, but your credit card costs you 20%, you're losing
Badly.
by 13 percentage points every year on that money.
Ouch.
These low-income millionaires, they saw that kind of debt not just as, inconvenient, but as an emergency to be eliminated. Paying down high-interest debt first was their priority.
Because the return is guaranteed.
It's the highest guaranteed return you can get. They understood, deep down, you just cannot out-earn terrible financial habits. And carrying high-interest debt is possibly the worst.
Makes sense. Okay, one habit left, number 5.
Number 5, according to the sources, is about the strategic management of windfalls.
Windfalls?
Yeah.
Like winning the lottery.
Huh? No, not usually. More like a tax refund, a small work bonus, maybe an inheritance or a gift, things that aren't part of the regular paycheck.
Okay. What's strategic about getting a tax refund?
The choice you make. On a modest income, a few $100s, maybe $1,000 or $2,000, it can feel like a lot. It could easily get frittered away.
Dinner out, new gadget.
Right. Or it can be transformative. The high earner might see a $3,000 bonus as just, pocket money.
Yeah.
The disciplined, low-income saver, the future millionaire, sees that same $3,000 as rocket fuel. A massive opportunity to accelerate their plan.
So it goes straight into the investments.
Immediately, it boosts the principal amount, the base that compounding works on. They didn't rely on these windfalls, but they absolutely did not waste them. They saw the compounding potential in every single dollar.
Okay, let's recap those 5 habits we have. Pay yourself first.
Automate it.
Avoid lifestyle inflation.
Keep that gap growing.
Maximize tax-advantaged accounts.
Use those shelters.
Avoid high-interest debt.
Eliminate it aggressively.
And leverage windfalls.
Make every dollar count.
Right. But, doing all this, especially with small amounts initially. Feels like it would take forever. Which brings us to maybe the hidden superpower here.
Exactly. All these habits are necessary, but they're amplified incredibly by the real engine, time and compound interest. This is the absolute key that makes the low-income approach actually work. It's the hidden advantage, especially for younger starters.
Explain that. Why is starting early so critical?
Think about it this way. Someone earning a lot who starts saving late, maybe at age 45, they have to save so much more each month, maybe 5 times as much or even more, just to catch up to someone who earned less but started diligently at, say, 25. Time doesn't just add, it multiplies.
Because your returns start earning returns.
That's compounding. That small amount Janice the teacher invested early, decades later, it's vastly more powerful than a much larger amount some high-paid professional invests for only a few years. It creates this exponential growth curve that just steadily rising income can't really match. You're harnessing the market's time, not just your own effort.
Okay, so the habits provide the fuel, time provides the runway,
Huh?
but you still need to get the plane off the ground.
Yeah.
And this requires overcoming that huge psychological hurdle we mentioned. The sources really stress this. None of this works without a fundamental mental shift.
Absolutely critical. It underpins everything.
It's about moving from thinking like a
I'm
consumer
always thinking about the next purchase.
to thinking like an owner, an
Everything.
investor.
Yes. And that means tackling two really powerful, really common limiting beliefs head-on. Beliefs that keep most people from even starting. One, the idea that investing is unaffordable. I don't earn enough to invest.
Heard that, man.
Two, the idea that investing is too risky. I could lose everything.
Also very common, fear of the market.
Right. But the beauty of the approach taken by people like Janice and Colin, starting small, being consistent, is that it directly challenges both those fears.
Also,
Well, if you start by investing just $50 a month or even $25, can you really say it's unaffordable? Probably not. It reframes the cost.
okay.
And if you're investing that small amount consistently over years, decades, into broad, low-cost index funds, the risk gets smoothed out, diversified away, largely. You weather the ups and downs. It makes too risky feel less immediate.
So starting small kind of defangs both objections.
It does. And what's really interesting, sort of counterintuitive, is that higher earners sometimes skip learning this discipline.
What do you mean?
Their big income can mask bad habits for a long time. They can spend a lot and still save something, so they might not be forced to master real frugality or the power of small, consistent steps.
Whereas the lower earner,
The lower earner, like Colin or Janice, they have to master the saving habit. They have to be disciplined. They have to think strategically about every dollar, out of necessity.
and those skills.
Turn out to be the absolute bedrock, the indispensable skills for building serious long-term wealth, regardless of where you started.
So without that mental shift, without genuinely believing you can do this, and rejecting those unaffordable or risky labels.
Those 5 practical habits we talked about, they just won't stick. You might try for a bit, but life will get in the way. The behavioral change, adopting that owner mindset, is what locks it all in. It unlocks the discipline needed for the long haul.
Okay, so wrapping this deep dive up for everyone listening, the big takeaway seems to be that wealth isn't nearly as dependent on your starting salary as we tend to think.
Much more about your saving and investing habits. Consistency.
And we see the proof in real people, like the teacher and the cleaner, who built millionaire status through those consistent behaviors, those 5 habits we outlined.
Pay yourself first, avoid lifestyle inflation, use tax advantages, crush high-interest debt, and leverage those windfalls.
And that entire strategy gets supercharged by the incredible power of time and compound interest. Starting early is a massive advantage.
It really is. And if we bring it back to that bigger picture, the critical advantage these low-income millionaires used was time. And the biggest thing stopping most people is that mindset block, that investing is only for the rich, it's unaffordable, it's too scary.
Right.
So if that's the real barrier, maybe here's the final thought, the question for you to really chew on. Given that maximizing time is the goal, and the barrier is often feeling overwhelmed or thinking it's unaffordable, what's the smallest percentage, like a truly painless percentage of your income that you could commit to investing starting today or this week?
Just getting started.
Just starting. Because taking that first small, consistent step immediately flips the script. You start gaining the maximum advantage from all the years you have ahead. And you directly challenge that old, tired assumption that only the high earners get to play this game.
The cost of waiting.
The cost of delay, compounded over years. That's the real risk people should be thinking about.